We're joined by Raj Bhalla. He's the Brian Hyson Distinguished Professor at Kansas University, School of Law, and columnist for Bloomberg Quint. Professor Bhalla, thank you so much for joining us today. What's your mind are the implications of this move on India? This is an intention at this juncture, but will this have serious ramifications on Indo-U.S. trade?
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. No, the Commerce Secretary is correct in saying that there really is somewhere between 190 million and 250 million US dollars worth of tariff savings that Indian exporters get by receiving GSP treatment. So it's not a hugely commercially significant tariff savings. But on the other hand, it is a significant change in the tone of the trade relationship, because for the first time, or an unusual time, the United States is using the GSP system as leverage to try and compel, if you will, reforms to the dairy sector, the medical device sector, e-commerce rules, and an array of other tariff and non-tariff barrier concerns that the U.S. has about India. This should not be a surprise to India or to the Modi administration. The GSP review of India was launched almost a year ago in April of 2018. India has long known, the Modi administration has long known that it's under review. And it's known that it's under review for exactly these sectors like dairy and medical devices. And the U.S. has made very clear its concerns about e-commerce rules, data localization requirements, effects on Amazon and Flipkart. Again, no surprises here. And the president has said all along since his inauguration speech that his general feeling is that other countries have been long taking advantage of the United States, whether it's tariff benefits, or other areas of trade. So I'm not defending the U.S. position, but I am saying it is completely understandable, and it was foreseeable by the Modi administration.
Mr. Bhalla, specifically on those two issues of dairy products and of medical equipment devices, where there seems to be the bone of contention, do you think there is scope for renegotiation on India's side, where there's some possibility of give and take?
Yes, absolutely. A good precedent that the trade negotiators, the trade team on the Indian side would look at would be the new NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because both the new NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership have specific provisions on dairy market access and on medical devices. For example, there's an entire annex to the TBT, the Technical Barriers to Trade chapter in the Trans-Pacific Partnership on medical devices. And dairy market access and quotas for dairy products were also dealt with in both the new NAFTA and TPP. So if I were a trade negotiator sitting in Delhi, I'd be looking at what did the Americans want and agree to in those two FTAs. And that's what I would be thinking about providing to the U.S. to satisfy the U.S. concerns in the GSP context.
Mr. Bhalla, I also want to know what you thought about the timing of this move, coming as it does when there is heightened tensions between India and Pakistan, and we are just a few weeks away from general elections. Does that read more than the move per se on what this means for Indo-U.S. relations at a slightly broader headline level?
Yes, perhaps. I mean, the timing of a lot of trade moves is really dictated by U.S. statutes. For example, on the Section 232 auto case, the president is in the 90-day window to make a decision, having gotten the report. Likewise, with GSP, he gets a report. He's got a period of time to make a decision. Now, that happens to coincide, unfortunately for India and the Modi administration, with the Pakistan crisis and the elections. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's some deep-seated, carefully orchestrated conspiracy in Washington to try and put pressure on multiple fronts on South Bloc. I don't think it's quite that sinister. I think it just is somewhat coincidental on the timing. That said, from Washington's perspective, it's not bad to be pressuring the Modi administration when it is somewhat vulnerable coming up into the May elections.